morning, good
Britain.
day,
Good morning, Britain.
good evening, whatever time of day you're listening to this. This is another episode of Not Another Couples Podcast. And Mark has returned.
Nakapa.
NACP.
Yeah, that's a car park.
It's a car park. So he's returned from Norway. No longer no guests. I had guests last week.
Yeah.
The boy.
Very mature boy.
The boy wonder. Yes, we'll talk about your trip in a minute. But the big news this week is the Fury Joshua
I just read
showdown.
Hearn has put something out yesterday that it's all been agreed.
Eddie
Signed,
Hearn.
sealed
So he's
and delivered.
Anthony Joshua's promoter. And
Is Hearn the promoter that also's taken on Pollock?
yes.
Quite
Yes, he's
savvy
going
of
for
him.
personalities. So the big news is that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury are finally going to actually fight each other. They've never fought. So that's the big thing. I think when in the big drama, they've always who's the best, British fighter, world heavyweight, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they've never actually fought. Because I think when Fury retired for the first time, it was 10 years ago or something. And then he's had about 15 comebacks since.
Well, I didn't realise he was undefeated heavyweight for 15 years or something.
Who?
You say Fury. Yeah.
So I think, he's had this whole, retiring, come back, and they've never, sort of aligned when they're fighting, when they're not fighting. So it's just been this constant, battle.
But is Fury... So, AJ Tracy, live and direct. Anthony Joshua is fighting before that, isn't he?
So the history is, obviously, they've never fought. Tyson Fury retired for the 15th time, had a comeback, did that fight recently and won. And so he's obviously been in training and had a more recent fight. Anthony Joshua had a defeat late last year, wasn't it? Or last year sometime. No, it was about a year ago.
Yes.
Where
I wonder if
it was
the
a
deal
knockout
is...
in the 5th round.
I wonder if the deal is he has to fight once before he fights.
No, I think also just confidence. I think probably as well, because he then had, the reason he's been out of action even longer is because he was in that car accident.
Oh yeah,
where two of his team and
close mates,
close friends died in Nigeria. So obviously he's sort of been recovering from being in hospital after that was just before Christmas, I think, as well. That was just before Christmas. So having him, if you've been in something like that, obviously it takes a while to get back into sort of full fitness.
Just a bit.
And so I think that's why now he's gone, okay, yeah, ready, finally. And obviously there's a huge amount of money, I imagine, involved. I think Eddie Hearn, one of his quotes also was, this is like the biggest piece of business that they've ever done.
Sold it to Netflix, haven't they? It's on Netflix Live.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said. So Netflix Live, with Netflix play more than Sky Sports do. And
also, they're also talking about... So back to Anthony Joshua with his fight. So he obviously wants to do a fight to show skills and get some match fight experience or whatever you call it. So he's planning to run in July officially against some Albanian guy called Pringa or something, who nobody's really massively heard of. But he's had 20 fights, 20 wins and 21 fights. But all the people he's fought have been pretty...
You wouldn't tell them that to their face.
No, but they haven't been renowned fighters.
No.
Let's just say it that way.
Journeyman.
And
they like to use the words journeyman.
And the person he lost to was some Dutch guy who, again, nobody had ever heard of.
Smoking the river?
Really obscure Dutch fighter that he lost to, which was...
I do think,
It's basically like a warm-up fight. So I get it. He doesn't want to fight a really big, renowned fighter because there's a risk of possibly
losing, and then people won't watch the Fury fight.
So he wants to fight someone who looks like he might give him a good few rounds in the ring, but obviously just he's the victor.
You do think, with the heavyweights, it's less so with the middleweight, but the heavyweights, all it takes is one good punch. So sometimes you can get unlucky. So you get hit by these guys.
But I think it's a bit like, I don't know, I suppose like with you with track and field and stuff. You want to do races, you want to do practice, just to see how your training's going.
Yeah.
So for them, but the big news, I think, the bigger news and all of that really is the fact that Usyk, who's beaten both of them,
yes,
he is really good mates now with Anthony Joshua, and he's rumoured to be going into his camp to help him
to box and spar with him.
Prepare for the Fury fight.
Oh, there we are.
Which I think is quite interesting as far as whether he just wants him to beat Fury and shut him up, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's been pushing for this fight more than everybody else.
Not unitize it. You know how it unifies all the belts. I don't know if this is a... No, because Joshua's not in... He hasn't got any of the belts.
So Anthony Joshua obviously
Usyk
had a knockout,
got all
but
the
then
belts,
he played. So he's rugby. He fought Jake Paul, wasn't it? And broke his jaw. That was his last fight. Yeah. So I think he lost the fight, then did the Jake Paul fight to sort of redeem some power.
Money,
and broke his jaw. So that was the big last fight that Anthony Joshua did.
And that does show you the power of these guys. I mean, Jake Paul's not a small guy, and he had trained hard to be a boxer.
Yeah.
And got exposed by a couple of punches, and that X-ray of his jaw was frightening.
I think it was 2 places, wasn't it? It wasn't just like one hit.
From a straw for a long time.
So yeah, that's the fun. So I don't know. I just don't know how. Obviously, they're doing it to finally prove who's the best, because they've just been willy-wanging about it for so long. I wonder if it'll be if Fury wins. I wonder if he will they let him have another fight on with Usyk or whatever his name is. Usyk. Yeah, because he's lost twice, hasn't he, to him? Mm. I can't see Joshua. I mean, this will be a massive payday, and then he'll just say, everybody involved, not
us.
Well, no, not us, but everybody involved in the fight. We're not involved in it.
Oh, I might be called up.
We're talking about it. Well, you may never know. What a sparring partner.
Would you ever box? Would you ever do a white collar?
I don't know.
I think you'd be quite good if you didn't tense up.
Depends on the day, really, doesn't it, with me? If someone just gives me something to annoy me, then I'll...
Yeah, but then you'd get red mist. Samba doesn't like
red mist.
The red mist it's like Tyson's quote, wasn't it? Everyone has a plan until I punch them in the face. It's that whole, not Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
I remember training this guy, rugby player, who was so fit. One of the fittest guys that go when we were doing white collar boxing. He was at Isha, and he was so fit. And he came out first round. He looked amazing. Second round, his hands were down, and he'd done a lot of boxing training, and his hands were down. And we were like, "Get your guard up!" And he said the lactic in his arms because of the nerves was so great.
Yeah,
he couldn't physically. He was like that. He said it just overwhelmed him. So the ability to keep calm and not get too hyped. Yeah,
and also I think, so similar to that is the duel, standing on duel. I remember when I did my audition for Gladiators, and they strapped our hands on? No, we just had these gloves on. Whether someone did them too tight or not, I just completely, my grip's quite strong. And after a while, I just couldn't grip. Like, my arms were just so...
Go floppy.
Tired. I don't know, it's because my forearms were just completely, like my forearms do, doing any...
Overwhelmed, yeah.
Grip. I was obviously gripping it so tight.
But that adrenal thing is huge. You're trying not to get that.
Well, you look at boxers, especially like the heavyweight ones. I remember watching it, as a kid when we were on TV. And you look at them and you think, what's the matter with them? They're like hanging, when they get to that point when they're literally just like hanging over each other and just like wallowing around. And you're like, come on, it's like 3 minutes. It's like nothing. And then I remember when we first met, we did some boxing on that big boxing bag that you had up in your attic. And stuff, or doing some pad work. Because I'd never done it before. And my granddad was a boxer, but I'd never actually boxed.
Liv Fowler.
So to then start doing it, you're like, oh my God, literally like the last minute or something, your arms are dying.
I think it's a brilliant sport until you step in the ring.
Yes, I would, a bit like when we did karate, I really liked...
Karate.
Thank
you.
I really liked doing the sort of conditioning and the training and not doing...
You didn't like the sparring?
Well, no, not sparring with some plank who doesn't know what they're doing.
What about a ninja?
Someone who even is better than me, everybody was better than me because they'd all done it longer, but just physically knows what they were doing, then that'd be okay. But yeah, I just like the training. So I think boxing training, and not necessarily in the ring stuff.
Yeah, Amber went a couple of times with her mate who was doing the white.
Well, in the rings, but bag work, not bag work, pad work.
I think the pad men are phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's that Mick Queen that we follow, who's phenomenal, and she was used in the Creed film, wasn't she, for a bit?
Yeah.
Was it Creed?
Yeah.
And then...
so quick. I mean, literally, I I think naturally I would do, and I can remember, patterns of movement and things like that fairly well. But I think you're almost like it's just so quick.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So quick to remember to know da 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 da.
And remember, each routine will be different depending on their opposition. So they've seen weaknesses and seen movements, and his right elbow drops as he comes in, and you come in with a hook or a. What have I done?
No, I can't hear you because you've got your hands over your mouth.
Well, I've got a very mature climbing beard.
Climbing beard. We'll get to your climbing beard in a minute.
Boxing. A phenomenal amount of money now. And then there's all this talk. No, not white collar. No, obviously quite a sport co in karate was contact, but apart from the head, it was touched to the head, so that was fine. You get winded and your ribs got bust.
But boxing, you've never done it?
Only training. Only training. I think it's a brilliant sport until you step into the ring, and then the potential of head injuries and stuff. Talk about head injuries. There was an article about Harlequins were playing a Maori New Zealand team that were touring the UK, 2016, and 3 of the men have now committed suicide from the Maori team because they all got repetitive head injuries and ended up becoming depressed and committing suicide.
Oh, that's the thing. It's like, I think, because at professional level, they don't wear headguards. Amateur level, where they wear
Olympics,
headguards.
they've still got headguards.
So they still have to wear headguards.
I still don't. I mean, the headguards stop abrasions and cuts, but they don't stop. It's like the clever gum shields in rugby now. They detect change of speeds, acceleration, deceleration through the head. And sometimes you look back and you go, well, was that a head injury? But obviously the head movement was so great, it clicks off. So I think, but you're never going to... I think
the iconic boxers of our era were like Henry Cooper.
Well, he wasn't our era.
Not our era, but I remember him as a child being like one of the iconic, because he basically looked a bit like my granddad as well.
Well, people like David Hay, obviously, Bruno, who's the other one I'm thinking of? Lennox Lewis, obviously Canadian, but we took him.
For the Olympics.
A bit like Rosetsky.
Chris Eubank.
Yeah, Ben Eubank. There was a lot of middleweights, and then you had people like Alan Minter and all these we're all
Barry McGuigan.
Barry McGuigan.
Icon.
I think his son now is a coach, isn't he?
So I was obviously looking up some of the stuff to do this because it was all over the news everywhere. And there was this guy chatting about the fight, and he was a very good commentator. And the name rang about, was called, his name's Spencer Oliver. It's obviously a boxer. And I was like, who's that? And I remember literally when we were all about, me and my friends were all about 17 when we went to pubs before we had to have
that's
ID.
Illegal.
I was the driver, so I was very sensible.
Very good.
And his older brother, because he's a bit younger, Spencer, Danny, used to be in the whole sort of group of people who went to the pubs. And I remember him talking about his younger brother Spencer being a really good boxer and blah 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 blah. And this was this guy who's obviously now doing commentary or pundit stuff to do with the boxing. So I was literally watching this little clip on YouTube, going, I know that name. I know him. I don't know him obviously now, but I knew of him. It's just interesting. The sort of, there's going to be a lot of chat, and I think there's probably going to be a lot of, yes, it's all signed and sealed, but there's going to be a lot of depending on what happens, will Fury do another fight in July as well, just to show what he's up to? Who knows with him? And obviously we watched At Home with the Furies, and that was,
I haven't finished it yet, have we?
Very tempestuous sort of.
Well, he's very open about his mental health.
We did finish it. Me and Finn watched it.
Ah, okay.
So there's only one episode.
Yeah, his mental health he's very open about it.
Yeah.
And his wife, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, I think they literally, what you see is what you get with them. I don't think there's anything put on for TV. Maybe them going off and getting married for the third time possibly was maybe just
I hope this is
an episode filler.
When he does retire, because he won't come back again. I do hope he finds...
This is what they're saying. If, like you said, if he wins, will he then come back to fight Usyk? I mean, he may not retire and then come back again.
But then my girlfriend is returning to try and make the LA Olympics.
Sorry, which one are we talking about now?
Alison Felix.
Okay.
So she put a thing up saying it's not to prove... It's basically to prove she's a 40-year-old woman now, had 2 kids, I think. Phenomenal runner, but she wants to prove to herself, as a 40-year-old woman, you're meant to kind of go quietly into the background. You've had your prime, your past.
Who says that?
She did.
No one says that anymore.
Right. Well,
stereotypically.
So, but she's trying to make a comeback for the LA. It's the city she was born in. So for the LA Olympics in 28, she's trying to make a comeback, and she will be, I think, 40 by then. I think.
Who else did that? Someone else did that in a different sport. It was a rugby player, or it must have been a runner. I think. Again, another mum. I'm not interested. Not so much about the winning. It's just I want to.
Yep, just to she wants to see what her body can do. She wants to see what her body can do. If you think, especially with the endurance, there's kind of metabolic changes post-birth. So some of the endurance athletes actually improve, and the Russians used to get their athletes pregnant.
Gymnasts.
No, the endurance athletes. Because there's all
sorts of shenanigans in gymnastics used to happen.
What's the hormone that's released in the last trimester for mobility? Not for mobility, but mobility.
Oh no! Stop.
Well, okay, I'll stop.
That's going to really annoy me now.
Lexin, no. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I can't give it.
The hormone release, which obviously allows greater movement, and you get kind of ligamentous releases, so a baby can come out of the bubba. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, come on! This is so annoying.
Is it? Look it up.
Can't.
Why?
Because my phone's up there.
Lexin. Oh. If anyone knows...
Can you shout it right now so we can talk about it right now?
Flocks. Oh, it's gone. It will come to me at 2:00 in the morning.
Okay, carry on, people. You know what we mean, though.
So, yes, and then you did show me that woman. Sorry, it's all related. But that woman, the influencer at 72, who started running when she was 60.
Chris Dobson, I think her name is.
Well done.
Or Hobson, Dobson.
And she talks about why she runs and why she lifts weights. And then she shows clips of her putting heavy plates away. Yeah, because she says people think
she's mad at her age doing, it's going to be like really dramatic and she's lifting weights. And she said, no, this is why I lift weights for lifting, putting stuff in your top cupboard, or
carrying heavy
going
bags
up the stairs, up and down stairs, or lifting, putting stuff in your car.
Which is quite nice, because normally these things, it's all about the glory stuff. But she said she was running and then she got a really bad chest infection and couldn't run and stopped.
She's run loads of marathons, 150 marathons.
And then she realised, the hardest thing is starting again. So it should be a good thing. But she got invited for the London Olympics. Brooks have just opened a massive store in London, and what's his name, fitness coach, whatever his name is, was there, and a couple of the elite athletes who wear Brooks as well. And she was asked to go, which she found amazing and loved it. But yeah, I like the way she.
Which made it relatable to life, especially a lot of older people. It's not about the aesthetic so much for them. It's about prolonging their independent lifestyle, really, so they don't have to rely on other people or be scared to walk downstairs or put something in their car. They can physically do stuff themselves rather than...
I think a lot of people kind of shy away from hard things. You don't want to break people. But
I think for her, because she's done it consistently, she hasn't just... But I think a lot of people come to exercise later in life. I read again about this nun. I can't remember. She was like the marathon nun.
Mother Teresa?
Not her, no. She was a sister nun somewhere, America, I think. And she started running... I can't remember what happened. One of the ministers or something she was working with or whatever said she was getting really frustrated with a lot of things. So he said, why don't you try running? So she started trying. She didn't start till she was in her 60s.
Like this other one.
And then she's been the oldest person to finish like an Iron...
Wow.
An Ironman.
Iron person.
Iron person. But she said she just got into it, but she didn't start till she was in her 60s. So I think there's an element of people doing it when they're very...
Are you going to take up endurance?
I think... no.
How do you know?
I know. But I think when you're younger, like we've done, and a lot of people we know who've done sport quite a lot, their bodies not are broken, but they're just a little bit more worn and torn. So managing that as you get older, I think. Whereas people who start later haven't broken their bodies so much competing. So there's people who've done it like moderately all their life, I think is probably...
Yeah, it's like masters athletes that start training when their kids go to the track and they go, I'll do something.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so it's different for everybody. So you can't sort of say if you've been doing sport all your life, you're going to be able to still do a backflip when you're 80, because your body might not quite be able to do that. But you might be able to still do lots of other things.
A lot of the track athletes now are incorporating cycling into their training because it's obviously less force, still working on the same engine.
Yeah.
So Keely Hodgson and what's her name, Bell, there was an article about them training in South Africa, and the picture of them in their cycling kit, they look like pro cyclists.
Yeah. Well, there was an athlete who did both. Again, can't remember the name. That's
Susie, you've got to get better than this.
This is like an off-the-cuff conversation. If I need to know these things, I would research them and have them written down on my pink piece of paper.
Oh.
A pink piece of paper down here, you see.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing I did that Anthony Joshua did say about apparently when Fury won his last match, Anthony Joshua was trying to show. There's obviously some sparring thing going on. Like, Joshua's expression to him was like, that his landlord coming to collect his rent or something. That's one of his like iconic lines and so he basically keeps saying that, I'm the landlord, I'm coming to collect my rent from Fury, basically just like he owes me.
Oh, okay.
He owes me, or not he owes me, but I'm taking it, whatever it is. So like he's in charge and Fury.
It's amazing how many of these fights now go to the end. I can't remember fights heavyweights going all the way to the end. They kind of make all the rounds. Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're all just. I think they're just fitter now. I think maybe I don't know.
But you have less knockouts, don't you? Maybe I don't know.
But is it more about money and business now than it used to be? In the early days, like our childhood.
No, I think there's still certain rivalries where they absolutely bloody
they
hate
absolutely.
each other.
Obviously, I get they're competitive. They want to win. But what I meant is like if they do 10 rounds, so they get more money.
Oh, I see.
Compared to like knockout in the first round and the first sort of 20 seconds.
I think there was mostly
a bit boring.
Side deals. Well, do you remember I was telling you about that I think it was a heavyweight boxer, British guy who had, I think, the Sun logo on his bottom of his shoes. So the
Sun newspaper, not like a Sun.
No.
Yeah.
When he got knocked down, obviously the feet came up and they advertised the Sun. So he obviously knew that he was likely to be knocked down, and so he took extra advertising space on the soles of his feet.
Yeah. I just think it's such an obscene amount of money involved in boxing. Like football, but like just obviously boxing, it's dangerous. It's not like a nice gentle walk in the park generally. But I just think there's a lot of huge amount of money. Always has been in boxing. There's even more now because you've now got all the TV rights.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of these boxers have got quite upset with the kind of the social media stars stepping in, making huge amounts of money when they haven't gone through decades of training to be the top of their game. So you can imagine there's a little bit of bitterness. So that when
I think back in the day there was obviously only in the UK especially there was obviously only like 3 channels, TV channels.
Giant haystacks.
So they would rely on external sponsors within the arena and people paying to come and watch and all that stuff for the fees, I suppose. But now, because there's such an enormous worldwide viewing possibilities, either via social media or like, huge networks that can offer massive amounts of cash for everybody involved. And then Saudi Arabia have got massively involved in boxing, which traditionally they weren't.
Did they say where they're fighting?
No, they're saying that I think the Joshua warm-up fight is potentially going to be in Saudi Arabia. They've obviously stepped on and going, right, we'll pay you
have that one.
Gazillion pounds to come and do that here. But there was rumours on this chat I was listening to of it being at Wembley. They think it will be at Wembley, but
Wembley.
I think they're trying to get it to Wembley, but it just depends who's going to stump up the most cash, isn't it? And who's going to fund it and show it and...
Yeah, wherever they think.
Well, also, if they do it at Wembley Stadium, they're talking about doing it in November, December. That's like the middle of winter. Wembley Stadium in the middle of winter hasn't got a closed roof, has it?
No, don't think so, no.
So they'd be better off doing it in Principality Stadium.
Obviously they can cover the boxing ring, but still.
Yeah, but...
The ambient temperature will be pretty nippy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Watch this space, I say. It's going to be a lot of chat, I'm sure, about it all ongoing. What would be your boxing name?
Mark. That's it.
Okay, that's really catchy.
I did quite like Fury's walk-on music last time. So obviously he did that tribute to Ricky Hatton, which was a very nice touch. And then I can't remember the song that he then played, which was brilliant. Starts almost like classical and acoustic with this woman's voice, and then it goes into it's like rock, not heavy metal, but I can't remember the name of the song. It was very good. So I was trying to think what my walk-on music would be. I think it might be some like a bit of Dizzy Rascal or something. Don't know.
Bonkers.
Yeah, because I'm bonkers.
It's got to be bonkers.
Yes. Bonkers.
There you go.
I'd have bonkers and
just
then
come in like the guy from Prodigy with like mad hair.
Yes.
Like scaring everybody.
Yeah, my nickname would be the Wheeling Dervish.
Mark the Mayhem.
Yes.
Wrecker Roberts.
Wecker Wobbits.
Wecker Wobbits, yeah, that'd be tricky for you to say. We've got to come up with Amber's name. She's planning to do her fight night, isn't she?
Yes.
It's later on in the year, so who knows what will happen between now and then. But I think she keeps saying, well, I might not get selected. I think you probably will. Just if she starts... They have to go to a tryout or put their name in or something. I was like, yeah.
No, she went to that boxing training, only went once. So it's a shame that her and Soph don't go, because it's such brilliant training. Such brilliant training. And it does cross over with rugby as well. So...
Yeah, well, she might. She just needs to, like you say, next year there's just the two of them in a flat, so I think there might be a bit more opportunity to sort of encourage each other to go to stuff together rather than, because the minute they live apart and she's got other people around and stuff. So, but yeah, she could be. I don't know what her name would be.
If she gets it right, she's got a lot of power, but I think she might. Well, she's like way fitter than she was. I mean, the fitness requirement, but also having a bit of a plan.
What, also being hit by someone else?
Yeah.
But she's used to that. Obviously, with rugby, it gets her fired up if someone like slams into her or tries to tackle her or get one up on her. She uses that to her advantage sometimes. I don't know where she gets that from.
Yeah.
Not like that too. No. So let's talk about where you've been.
Norway.
Mark was away all last week.
Yeah, it was amazing.
In Norway.
Flew to Oslo, then flew another 2 hours north to a place called Tromsø, which is the most northerly football team, apparently. They're top of the Norwegian league. We looked at that. It's so far north. I thought I'd been north before in Finland and Ivalo. It's way further north. I mean, it's almost up in Russia.
Norway's weird, isn't it? It's like the sort of left strip. You normally see all the Scandinavian area. You've got Sweden, and then you've got this like weird strip.
And then the top is all broken into smaller islands. So we were actually on an island fed by fjords and stuff. So
you said there was a tunnel. Did you have to drive?
They had a lot of tunnels. So
under a tunnel to get to where you were?
Yeah, so as we drove, there's a big bridge from Tromsø to the island that we went to, and then you drive down there, whatever, 20k, and then there's a tunnel under the fjord to take you to the other side, and they do that quite a bit. Amazing. Yeah.
So you were ski touring. That's
ski
why
touring.
you were there.
The snow apparently was the worst in 30 years. We didn't have great weather. Last 2 days was good. So you basically drive to wherever you've decided to climb, and then you get all your kit on, your ski touring boots. You might have to carry your skis on your rucksack till you get to the snow line, then skis on with skins underneath, and then skin up until you get to a certain gradient.
So you're basically walking up for about 4 or 5 hours and then you ski down.
So yeah, sometimes some of the days were a bit shorter, and then you put these little, I call them croutons, but they're called kuto, underneath your skis, that kind of go underneath the binding, so as you put your foot down they push in like crampons.
And you literally were unsupervised for 2 days by yourself, weren't you, creating Budgy Smuggler videos for,
we
for
were
the fans,
right where we were in the cabin.
Only fans count, but
I did get slightly
feral.
No, yeah, it's such a beautiful place. It's so remote, but I thought I have to go in the water. You know, I do the cold water here, which is 6 degrees, and everyone said, "Oh, the water's about 6 degrees." But it's because it's moving water. Like when you get in an ice bath and you keep still, you get this kind of thermal layer over you, which kind of after a while it starts to warm up. Not warm up, but it doesn't go in the sea because obviously the current. And then so we went in and it wasn't fucking 6 degrees. It must have been about 2. So yes.
But you filmed yourself. You put it on time lapse, filmed it, went and did it, and then it hadn't recorded. So you did your little video. Had to do it again.
Cold.
You weren't shivering. Well, you didn't appear to be shivering when you were talking, which I was quite surprised at.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. But yeah, cool people.
And then your snow angel.
Oh yeah, I didn't really think
about the camera angle. If you want to watch these, we'll maybe get Blair to put them up. But if you want to go to a PS Fitness Instagram,
I've forgotten about the angle. So basic. But what was nice
is as about the angle, you put the camera there, and then your crotch was.
But what happened is, as I made my snow angel, the little formation of snow made a little snow penis. in front of my own small penis.
The amount of comments, texts, WhatsApps I have received since you made
it does
those.
show you. I mean, we obviously you put all the Instagram up for PS, and lots of the PSs have had lots of good comments and covering. But as soon as you put a picture of me up with my budgies going into the water, like viral, small willy,
viral, very
Budgy
small
Smugglers.
budgies, very cold water.
It was
Let's
very
just
cold
leave
water.
it there.
I inverted. I was like a sumo wrestler.
Just
so yeah, it was amazing. And then the other game I had, I also got very scared on the mountains.
Yourself.
It was trying to meet a Norwegian that didn't speak better English than me. And so everyone spoke perfect English.
Yeah, generally Scandinavians speak much better English. They have much better accent than actually us ourselves. Because
so I thought, where can I go? Anyway, went to the supermarket.
Just think their accent also makes them sound as though they're pronouncing words very poshly.
Everything is
very articulated well.
And I went in at the supermarket and I was making dinner for everyone, and I thought, I'll get some garlic bread. Or make some garlic bread. And I said to this woman, who I'd say about 60, and I thought, she definitely won't speak English. And I said, oh, garlic bread? And she turned to me, oh, of course, sir, it's in the frozen section, follow me. I was like, oh my God.
But I remember I went to Iceland, not the shop, the actual country, years ago, and they, again, these kids, every age, everybody spoke brilliant English because they watched loads, and this is a long time ago, they watch loads of American and British TV, American primarily, so they have more of an American accent initially.
But it is embarrassing,
loads
isn't it?
of American TV, so they learn a lot of slang and chat and, not school English, but
yeah, but it is
conversational stuff.
Compared to England, I know so much of the world speak English, so
we're
a
hugely
lazy nation.
Multicultural country, but majority of us are terrible at languages generally.
Yeah.
Unless it's your second language within your culture or your family or whatever.
But yeah, no, an amazing country. I was chatting to a few of the people about, because obviously I think it's about 8 weeks they have, or 6 weeks they have pure darkness in winter. And I said, how do they cope? And they said, funny enough, because there's obviously snow in winter, there is a reflection of light, so it's not completely pitch black.
It's like a moonlight.
But they're very healthy nation, it seems. Don't see many over. I mean, we're north, and so it's.
What's the happiest? Is it Finland still that has like the most happiest people?
Yeah, Iceland was low, wasn't it? Iceland has a high level of depression.
Isn't it Finland? They have like just everybody's just.
Yeah, but it's really interesting. We'd drive to these different areas to go climbing, and there'd be a whole group of women. I'd say 30s, 40s, either finish work, and they all meet up, get their skins on, go off. That's their couple of people took their dogs up the top. Because the advantage there, it's not like the Alps, so you don't go super high. It's not like 3,000-4,000 meters. I think the highest we got was like 1,800 or something. And so a lot of them have got the huskies, and they're running alongside. It's brilliant. So you get husky at the top.
I think if you live somewhere like that, it's sort of not expected, but you're buying into that. Way of life.
Yeah, but you've got.
But if you go down to Cornwall and things like that, people are like walking on the beach. They're walking on the hills. They're out. They're on surfing. Yeah. They're, it's just wherever your environment is. If you live in a city, people will physically have to go into a building to the gym or find a park to run around, or they don't really want to run around busy streets. So it's a very different. Yeah. I think it's wherever you are.
No, I think it's a mindset as well. I think they're just very outdoorsy. It reminded me a little bit of New Zealand.
I was about to say, yes.
Everyone's very much. It's not necessarily about fitness. It's not like, how fast do you go? Or it's just they enjoy being outside.
Mm. Well, I suppose if you've got dark a lot of the time of the year, when it is light, you want to be outside in the light as much as possible as well.
And I know,
they may not consciously do that, but you think suddenly we get a sunny day, we're like, ooh, let's everybody go outside.
You're driving along and there's a blizzard and there's snow on the road, and you'll see 10, 15 people individually running, either with the dogs or on their own running, and they've got really good cycle paths and run paths next to the roads,
which makes it all a little bit more pleasurable. That's what I'm saying. If you're living in a city, in a town, and you want to try go for a run, and there's only a pavement available, and you've got like 15 people walking along all the time, dodging in and out of people. It's like I did that thing on Friday night, and I went to Waterloo Station, then walked over Westminster Bridge. It was a really sunny day. Obviously, London Marathon was about to happen.
Yeah.
And it was packed with tourists, and I wasn't walking. I didn't have a particularly, a tight time schedule to get to, but I was like just weaving constantly. There were people with their like lights and their camera stands and doing loads of like Instagram stuff. It was, but then and all the guys on the sort of like the bike taxi things, all like
with music
and millions of them lined up ready. It was brilliant, but it was like if you were just like pootling along looking at the view, it was fine. But I was like, I felt like a salmon because everybody sort of seemed to be walking one way, and I was like, oh, eventually I crossed over. But yeah, it was very busy in London. I hadn't seen it that busy for a very long time, and
we're just coming into the season, aren't we? We'll get lots
well, and
of
also
tourists.
because of the London Marathon, I think lots of other people were in London visiting or coming to support people who are running the marathon, not necessarily from abroad, but just for the rest of the country.
That was amazing as well.
Yes, the London Marathon just happened on Sunday.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, under 2 hours for running a marathon. Did I see somebody did a close up of his watch, and he was doing something like 2:35 kilometre pace at like mile 20 or something.
Yeah, there's a section of downhill that, they're flying. Well, obviously...
Because they zoomed in, they were like, what am I seeing on his actual watch?
Well, 42 kilometres, isn't it? Yeah. And you're running under 2 hours, so you're running at over 21 kilometres an hour. You put next time anyone's out there going on the treadmill, put it to 21 kilometres an hour. I think they still do it at the London Marathon. They have
that big wide one.
Yeah, and they set it at the world record, which is even quicker now. Yeah. And they see how many people crash mats behind.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, 21 kilometres an hour.
But it seemed like Keely Hodgkinson and things like that getting her pace, wasn't it? On a treadmill. People were, good club runners were struggling to maintain 21. For that. I mean, but I love the way he was interviewed, so like, low key about everything. It's like, what did you have for breakfast?
Kenyan, wasn't he?
2 pieces of toast and honey and a cup of tea. And then what are you going to do afterwards? Gabby Logan, I think, was asking.
Oh, yes, he didn't quite get that. Are you going to go
for fish and chips and a beer? And he was like,
he didn't understand.
No, don't know what you mean.
He had the most amazing skin. He looked like he hadn't done anything.
Amazing. Just like gone for a quick jog, warm up.
Because you were saying that, was it Joe Wicks that got in trouble? Not he got in trouble.
Well, I just keep seeing clips. Again, I don't know the before and after or how it all came about, but he was being interviewed. I can't remember. I think it was like
Was it Joe Wicks?
Yeah, but I think it was on like the High Performance podcast or something like that. And all the clip is him saying, I've run a marathon not eating anything or drinking anything. And obviously loads of people have kicked off from that one. It could be completely out of context. He may have explained befores and afters and whys. Or at that time, I didn't, or he probably said, I didn't mean that to happen. It just, I couldn't get, there's never any
negative adaptation. If you look at the kind of East Africans, they don't drink. Their sweat rate is less than most Caucasians, so they don't need to drink. They don't need to eat.
Extremely efficient and built to do that.
And I think Joe Wicks is a very good runner as well, and he may have got to that stage as well.
But it may have been that he was so busy stopping, talking to people. Do you know what I mean? In context, it wasn't this London Marathon, but it may have been a previous marathon somewhere where he may have just said, I didn't get a chance to, so I didn't end up eating anything or drinking anything, and survived it. So it's not like his body adapted. But
I always say, when you've got clients doing the marathons. If you're running a 3-hour marathon, you're obviously a very good runner. Anyone breaking under 3:30 is phenomenal. There's a big difference to then having a 5-hour marathon.
Yeah.
Because obviously fueling.
Yeah.
Time on your legs.
Yeah, the impact.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's a lot more time.
So actually, I think, but we have 2 people breaking 2 hours.
Can we just say a huge well done to Flynn's housemaster, Dr. Christopher Telfer Mason.
Full name.
Well, you have to call him Doctor.
Yes.
The Doctor.
The Doctor.
He ran it on Sunday, I believe,
3:36, wasn't it? I think
or something like that.
It's a good time.
So very good time. So for his son's charity.
And it was charity's called
Angel Syndrome, I think.
Yeah, and it wasn't the t-shirts, that orange one with wings on it. Yes. Angel wings.
So very well done to him and everybody else who ran the marathon, if you're listening and watching.
I always love watching it. When you watch the highlight show as well, obviously they show the elites and we had quite a few athletes at the track who ran it as well and ran well. So.
But I also like watching the people who've obviously started or cramped, or there was a clip of Mo Farah helping someone with cramp on the sides. And other people stop. You literally at that last mole run and the mall, and people helping people over the line. Just because you've got that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of people. Emma B ran it, DJ Huado, and Nixie Body Pants, Kelly ran it. So literally been watching everybody's little clips. So well done to everybody.
Yeah, massive.
On that note, go for a run, everybody. Get outside. Be Norwegian. Be more Norwegian. That's our motto this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you say?
Tack. Everything's tack.
Tack.
But I think that means thanks.
Okay. Tack.
Tack.